It's here in this small neighborhood in East Jerusalem, Sheikh Jarrah, where another fight between Palestinians and Jewish settlers is taking place. The settlers claim they own the properties, while Palestinians insist they are the rightful owners.
We have all the papers from Jordan and Turkey. They do not have their own property papers. We have been in the courts for decades, and if it was true that they had property ownership papers, they would not have allowed us to stay here even 24 hours.
But that's not how Israel sees it. For decades, Israeli courts debated the cases, and an organization called Nachsholet Shimon International is using a law passed in 1970 after Israel seized the whole of Jerusalem, is seeking their eviction, arguing that the land has once belonged to Jewish families. Jerusalem Deputy Mayor and Likud party member Flor Hassan Nachshom says this is a real estate dispute.
It's a property dispute that the courts have been trying to solve for many, many years. It's a dispute where one side, a Sephardi Jewish trust, can prove ownership of these houses, and people who've been living there, the families that have been living there since 1948, when the Jordanian, at the time, illegal occupation of East Jerusalem allowed them to move in and live there, but without any type of property rights.
Several Jewish organizations and residents declined to comment for this report. 77-year-old Nabil El-Kurd vehemently rejects Nachshon's assertion. He says he was 12 years old when his family was expelled from Haifa by Jewish forces in 1948 and then moved here. He is accusing Israel of forcibly expelling them from their homes again.
The Israeli occupation will do anything to get this neighborhood. They have a complete plan to take over the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood. For them, the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood is a strategic area in Jerusalem.
Under an arrangement between the United Nations and Jordan, which at the time controlled East Jerusalem, Palestinian families were given a place to live in exchange for giving up their refugee status. Palestinians say the neighborhood has a strategic value, and expelling them from their homes ensures greater Jewish presence in East Jerusalem, giving Israel significant control over the city. It's these homes, this street, this neighborhood, Sheikh Jarrah, where 28 extended Palestinian families are facing a possible eviction. They've lived here since the 1950s. The Israeli Supreme Court has delayed its decision at least once, and all families are awaiting a final verdict this summer. Several evictions have already taken place, including half of Nabil's house back in 2009. Few homes from Nabil's home is where Noha Atiyah lives. She got married in 1988. Her husband has lived in Sheikh Jarrah since 1956. He died last year. The mother of 6 children witnessing the eviction of 3 of her neighbors. The experience, she says, has traumatized her.
We are now sleeping with our clothes on us for fear of being expelled. The bags in which our important papers are located are placed next to us so as not to leave them behind. This is the height of suffering.
The story of Sheikh Jarrah residents grabbed international attention, all thanks to Nabil's daughter Muna. The outspoken 23-year-old activist and her brother Muhammad has become the face of the neighborhood. They used social media to highlight their neighborhood's plight to the world.
Families in Sheikh Jarrah went to many institutions and governments around the world that are concerned and responsible for our cause. But there was no positive response, and they did not do their part. So we turned to social media as our last option. And the hashtag Save Sheikh Jarrah Neighborhood began trending #1 in the world.
Noha says she will keep on fighting to keep her home.
Every stone in our house tells a memory of my children's lives. I have 6 children, 4 sons and 2 daughters. They were raised here, went to school here, and grew up and succeeded here.
As for Diab, he says if his home is taken away, Israel should allow him to return to his family's home.
If this neighborhood is theirs, let them return to us our homes that they took in 48, in Jaffa, Haifa, and Acre.
Reporting for the Media Line, Mohammed Al-Qasim, Sheikh Jarrah, East Jerusalem.
news needs trained journalists. The Media Line, the first American nonprofit news agency covering the Middle East, has mentored scores of students from prestigious American universities and around the globe. We are one of the best-kept secrets. Universities are partners. Students receive credit. In order to bring you trusted news, we need support for our future journalists. Please make your tax-deductible gift today. Go to themedialine.org.